evening all. When last we spoke, I was building a fisherman's chapel. This is the progress so far. There's a few things that need to be added before I can get on to the painting. One thing I'd like to show you is a trick that's actually new to me, which is, you see these cornerstones here? They have this crack which makes them look like what they are, slabs of card. So I want to put some filler in there. Now I do have some filler, but I've been experimenting with an old carpenter's trick, which is this. You take some bicarbonate of soda and you smooth it into the cracks there, and you pat it down. Bicarbonate of soda will, being a fine powder, it will take the shape you want. And then, this is the clever part. Oh, hold on, I do want to keep the actual shape of the stones there. What you do is you take some super glue, thus, and you just get it in there like that, and it mixes with the bicarbonate of soda to form a paste. So basically it's a cheap form of filler. I'm just using like pound shop super glue, which isn't great as super glue, but is fine for this. There, now that's dried really quickly, because the great thing about bicarbonate of soda is that it's an accelerant to super glue, so it dries really quickly. It's also great for deodorizing your boots. Little domestic tip there. Anyway, that's irrelevant. Now I'm going to give this whole thing an undercoat of black paint. And this is just regular old craft paint. Actually, this is quite thin. Hope it's going to be okay, but we'll see. Well, the black undercoat has finally dried. I don't know what the deal was with that paint, but it took about 1,000 years to dry. Also really thin, like if I wanted watercolour, I'd have bought watercolour. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to the next stage. So what I am going to do is I'm actually painting the tiles individually, which is going to take an awfully long time, I think. But it is going to, I hope, it's going to create a more random effect, which, well, to be quite frank, which will offset the shortcomings of the building's construction. Now, it's really I had this problem earlier. My camera really does not like this contrast, so I think I'll come back when I've painted the roof. There's the roof, and you can see, I hope, the effect that I've gone for. I mixed up several different shades of grey and applied them individually, and it's definitely getting there. I'm kind of thinking I might add some kind of moss effect, which I think will make it look more interesting. I'm also planning on doing a wash, I think. Anyway, time to do the stones. As with the castle, I've mixed up some grey with a touch of brown, and I've lost my paintbrush. Well, I've put on the first layer of grey paint, well, grey, brown, stony colour, whatever, on the stones. It's all looking a bit monotone at the moment, but I'm kind of hoping that will be sorted with the next layer. And I'm just putting that wash on the roof. Kind of want to tie all the different shades together, as if the slates are all different shades of grey, but they've been sitting in the same place for years and years and years. If you see what I mean. Okay, I am applying the next layer, which I'm applying fairly lightly. This is it's a lighter layer of paint. Lighter shade of paint, which is fairly key if you're doing stonework. You want lots of different shades, and I kind of mostly want to pick out highlights on the stone rather than just completely obscure the layer below. After this, I will add an even lighter layer, and I'll show you what it looks like. Well, much has changed. I've finished the stone. I used 4 different shades of grey in the end, and I'm quite pleased with the end result. What I've also done on the roof, let me just see if I can, hold on, let me do it this way. I've gone for, I've applied a very thin wash of a sort of yellowy green to create a mossy effect. And I'm just going to overlay that with a slightly thicker kind of orangey colour, because I don't know, because the specific chapel I was inspired by, the one from the photo in Cornwall, has this sort of very orangey moss growing on it. I don't know if that's like a specific coastal variety or if it's specific to Cornwall or what. Is there such a thing as like a mossologist? But yeah, I want to kind of get that look to it, which again, I just want to make this building look as interesting as possible. So, also while I'm about it, I've painted the window frame, and that's not the final colour of the door, that is an undercoat. I'll show you what I'm at in a minute. Now with the door, what I want to do is get a kind of multi-layered effect. I want it to look as interesting as possible. So to do that, what I've done is I've started out with a kind of bare wood colour, and now I'm applying a very drab green. This is actually the I believe it's actually the exact shade that your fellows from Russia wore during the Second World War. Couple more additions. You will notice I have put a stone cross by the entrance because, well, it's a chapel. I've gone over the door again with a brighter shade of green. I've also used a kind of trompe l'oeil thing there with the bolt, which is actually just silver pen. Now, the window is the final thing that's missing. Received wisdom has it that you need to use, clear acetate or something with glazing bars added. I'm not much on received wisdom, or indeed any kind of wisdom, so what I've done is I have just used some black card. I have drawn the window bars on, and I've gone over it with gloss varnish, which I'm hoping will create a glassy effect. Let's put it in place and see what we end up with. Complete. I now declare the Chapel of St. Peter and St. Andrew, Porthmain, Cornwall, open for Sunday services. So I hope you found that interesting. I hope you found it useful. And I'll see you again very soon for another project. Cheerio.